Calling meeting at 7:35 p.m. Please stand for
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'd like to take a moment of silence for Coach Corey Casey. Glad to see a full house. Just need approval of minutes from August.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Rick. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Welcome again. Public participation. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything on your mind, please come up to the microphone. There is a 2-minute limit. All right. Michelle, do we have any correspondence?
We received an email regarding setting graduation dates.
Was there a lunch?
Who's got some time ago?
Mike's.
Sorry, we were just talking about another email that we received a few weeks ago, so we probably mentioned the last meeting about payments for school payments for lunch, other ways to do it.
There's a question about whether we could use credit cards. And so the answer is credit cards. They just have a cost that has gone up for the district that the district would have to pay. So typically we don't take credit cards, we take debit cards and checks and things like that.
Okay. Any other correspondence? Up to points of information? Talk about town council meeting, but that was, I can say that for later. So if there's no other points of information, up to you for sure.
Okay, a lot has happened. School has started since the last meeting. And the first day and days of school have been going pretty well, at least at the high school. Student council so far has had 2 meetings. We have a new advisor. We have Miss Canty and Miss Ennis as well now. So that's cool. WTHS announcements have started back up. So I know Dr. Willett and I have talked intently about perhaps having something about the Board of Ed on the announcements at least every now and again, just to keep students at the high school updated. DECA's first meeting is tomorrow, and I know the first meeting last year had a bunch of people at it, 135. Yeah, so 135 kids at the first meeting of the year. So I can't imagine what it's going to be this year. My guess is it's going to go up. Celebrate Tolland is, as many people know, this coming Saturday, beginning at 11 and going until 3. We, as a student counselor, are going to try to be next to the Tolland Public Schools booth, which I believe Mrs. Moran, if you'll correct me if I'm wrong, is going to try to be next to the town council. Yeah. So we're trying to get everyone together. Open house is not tomorrow, but the Thursday after that, the 19th, and it's going to be run by NHS and student council. There is an introduction for freshman parents, just to like, hey, this is the school, this is what freshmen are doing, this is what the school looks like for your kid, and this is what their class schedule feels like almost. And then in addition to that, there is a college application workshop the following Thursday for senior parents. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fish.
Sure, I just have a quick question. WTHS, is that the video?
That's our video broadcast morning announcements. Emily is an anchor. Matt Coleman is one of our new weather anchors. So
Yeah.
Weather anchor. Cool. Is that going to be every day? Or
it happens every day at the beginning of second block.
Okay.
We have the regular anchor's position set up. We're still trying to work out a few kinks with the weather anchor position and trying to get it so that they can actually be broadcasted, but that will hopefully be fixed within the next week or so.
Cool. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Fisher. All right, Dr. Willett, you have anything?
Yes, we have a number of G items tonight. I did want to start off by again reiterating that the Tolland School and community overall is deeply saddened by the passing of Mr. Corey Busey. He's been a coach, an assistant coach, and head coach role for 14 years. So as you might imagine, he has really been embedded in the hearts and minds of everyone. And this passing is very painful for the Tolland community and for many, many families and students, and teachers, and all staff. So again, it was. We just want to keep the family and his friends in our hearts and prayers. There will be a memorial service on September 20th at 7 p.m. I sent out an email to the community tonight about the arrangements and the address and so on. So we've obviously encouraged people to attend. We're just very, very saddened by his passing. Kind of going from some sad information to some very positive information. You note that G1 and G2 tonight, we are getting the opportunity to, as we do annually, recognize two people of a high level of awesomeness here in the Tolland Public Schools. Paraprofessional of the Year and Teacher of the Year recognitions. We did have a formal ceremony at our convocation for the Paraprofessional and Teacher of the Year. But it's also important, of course, in public session to bring them in front of you because they are the best of the best for us. The Teacher of the Year goes on to compete with the national, state and the national Teacher of the Year competition as well. So we'll be sending a Teacher of the Year out there to do that. To start, I would like to address our Paraprofessional of the Year, Jennifer Cooper-Schmidt. So if you might come up and recognize you, give you a chance to talk to you. Can I just throw them out there? She's credited by teachers as helping instead. I'm sorry. Don't worry. Teachers is helping them have the best year of teaching ever. A truly special person, thoughtful in dealing with all aspects of our children's education. The information provided for this individual, or by this individual, is that she has absolutely no complacency in her whole world or her professional practice. She's loved by the children in all of the buildings she has ever worked, and she has the unique ability to create relationships with students that other people really can't make those same connections. So she is a magnificent, wonderful, awesome para, and we're so lucky.
I've already given my speech. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you.
I just have a comment because I know Jen a little bit, but I wish everybody could have heard her speech because I was at convocation and I cried. Aw, thanks, me too. Jen's daughter Sophie is in the senior class this year. My daughter knows her, and I remember Big Bird.
Big Bird is still here, and he'd like a graduation diploma. Put that down.
You We'll work on that. Big Bird is special.
He is. He's still here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen.
Jen, I don't know you that well, but I've seen you around the buildings, and thank you for everything you do, and thank you for all what paraprofessionals do, because my son has one, and you guys do turn kids' worlds around. Thank you.
So the next honoree tonight is our Teacher of the Year. Many of you know her, Lynn Bridge. I would like to say a few words about her. The Teacher of the Year is described as an educator with amazing and exceptional skills and dedication. She's professional, articulate, knowledgeable, and passionate about educating students. This once stay-at-home mom has been deeply involved in community organizations involving the Tolland Education Foundation and Project Graduation, and has spent countless hours volunteering in the Tolland Public Schools. In 2011, this accomplished individual, this is kind of written before we were introducing her, before people knew her name, so, you know, she's a nominee here, but she's actually much more than that now, right? She's got the status. She's a respected member of the staff. Parents and teachers alike widely commented that the teacher's instruction contained rigorous lessons, top-notch teaching strategies, and community service projects that help prepare students for the future. She's a natural leader, excelling at creating unique experiences for students and allowing them to explore career opportunities and engage in career readiness. The community, public service, and corporate networking opportunities she has provided have helped prepare our students for the real world. I present to you our Teacher of the Year, Lynn Bridge.
Thank you. I didn't really know that I was supposed to be saying something this evening. But I did want to say it really, truly is an honor for me to be up here, to be nominated as Teacher of the Year. It was totally unexpected, as Dr. Willett could probably tell you when he, shocked me in the hallway. He stopped me one day. So it really is an honor to be here. Tolland is so near and dear to my heart. I have raised my children here. My kids have all gone through the Tolland school system. They have all graduated from Tolland High School. They have jobs, they have a house, and so the education works here. They enjoyed it, they were involved in a lot of different things, and it truly means so much to me to be here in my own community and to, watch these kids grow up that are my neighbors, that I've known for a very long time. As you know, the DECA students are near and dear to my heart. They are so special. They are here tonight as support, and that truly means a lot. I was nominated as, well, not nominated, I did earn the semifinalist position for the state tonight. A little worked up, a little nervous about that, but that next round is happening tomorrow and Friday, and we'll see where that goes. So it truly has been quite a ride. So thank you.
Thank you.
Photo? No?
Yeah. Either Jen or Teacher of the Year.
Oh, the
kids. I'm sorry, you meant the board.
Something about theirs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
You guys want to
Ready,
say?
your
More than glad.
They're public speakers.
there is a 2-minute limit.
So I will stick to my 2 minutes, hopefully under my 2 minutes. The last 4 years, and I just really
I'm
quickly.
sorry, just your name for the record.
Oh, Jaden registered, sorry, 6807. I just drove here about an hour and a half away from college, last minute, dropped my books, dropped my laptop, not literally, but, and rushed here because Mrs. Bridge, tonight was her night to get recognized, or we could publicly see her get recognized. And I just found out, literally around 5 o'clock, So just there, I mean, that should tell you how much she means to me, and that she means that much to a lot of students. So Mrs. Bridge, you've done a lot for me. She's the reason I'm able to stand up here and speak in front of you guys. She's the reason I can pull a suit blazer together and give a great presentation. And so I'm just really thankful for all the lessons she's taught me and all the other DECA kids, and all our students in general. So thank you, Mrs. Bridge.
Hi, I'm Emily Bliss, and I am a senior now. And I just want to say I think all of her students, everyone wants to be Miss Bridge when they grow up. She is a perfect role model to everyone through DECA, through class. I never had the experience to have her in class, but I have been on many trips with her, and she's like my second mom, just always there for me. And my partner Elise and I, we qualified for top 10 in the world for DECA at internationals, and Miss Bridge's energy just pumped us up so much. So with that, in your semifinalist round, I'm gonna give you the same pep talk you gave me. You got this because you really are an amazing person that has touched all of your students' lives, and we all can vouch for that. So she's an amazing person, as you all know. Thanks. Thank you.
That's awesome. Hi, I'm Nathan Pelangeli. I don't even think you could put on paper what Miss Bridge has done for us. I couldn't be more thankful. If there's someone that can push me to do something I don't want to, it's definitely Miss Bridge. I mean, like, I can tell you our stories from nationals are I just can't even describe it. Originally, I didn't even want to go because like I was freaking out about it, and then she settled me down. She took me into her classroom. She said, "Look, I know you're freaking out, but I'm gonna tell you this is gonna be the best experience of your life." And it was beyond the best experience of my life. I could not thank her enough. And we got 3 hours together when Emily and Elise were competing. We just sat down. I think it took me 45 minutes to get you a coffee. Those memories, could not be more thankful for those. She has definitely taught me so much and made me such a better person, and I couldn't even begin to describe all the things that she's done for us.
Hi, I'm Matt Coleman. I'm a senior this year at Tolland High School, so I've been with Miss Bridge for about 4 years now in DECA. And whether it was in DECA or in the classroom or in some other venue, what Miss Bridge does has meant a lot to me. And that's because when I came into high school, I was a really shy kid. I could not stand up here and do a presentation like this without feeling like I was going to wet myself, It has really helped what she's done in teaching presentations and all that. And what meant especially a lot was that she sought me out. She realized that I was a person who had these kind of difficulties coming up here and, talking to people publicly, and she came to me and she helped me work through all the nerves with that, and she got me to a point that I was able to run for a leadership position in state of Connecticut DECA, and now I'm the vice president. So everything after, she realizes how much it has meant to me, and I can't thank her enough, and I am so thankful to have met her.
So, you guys are all
Motion to adjourn.
just all such great speakers. Thank you all.
We've honored a lot of people. I just want to thank Jason, Emily, Nathan, and Matt for telling us and showing us what great teaching does. And you exemplify what great teaching does. I think this is the best board meeting. Thank you so much for what you do, and clearly it's worth it.
Thank you. You guys are our product.
And I'll keep coming. That's what I'm saying, because thank you.
How do I get my daughter in your class?
No, but they're exemplifying what happens, and you guys are the best of the best, but it is the best. They're exemplifying what happens in a lot of classes in town, the public school system.
Just had a question. So what do you have to do in the next round? Is there
For me?
Yeah.
So I have a 30-minute interview. From what I hear, they put me at a podium in front of 10, 15 people and fire questions at me.
No problem.
Yep, that's what I heard. So yeah. So that
Can
happens.
you bring your pep squad?
Well, I'm thinking about it. I might have to take 1 or 2 of them out of school. Have them come with me. Yeah, so I have that coming up. I have to just do a 5-minute presentation on a lesson that I would give. So kind of these are all the things that are happening. And then it's just a firing squad.
How many are there? Sorry, I think you might have said it earlier.
How many semifinalists?
Yeah.
So for the state, they chose, what I saw on the list was 17.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. It's exciting, a little nerve-wracking. It's been, in my mind, just going over what am I going to talk about,
If anybody can do it, it's probably you.
Trying.
So
Look at them all nodding.
I'm sure that my phone will be blowing up Friday morning with text messages from them. You got this. Same things I would do to them. Right?
Oh.
They're going to FaceTime you. All right, I'll be pacing in the hallway.
Ms. Cooperschmidt, there's not the same kind of thing at the state level, but I'm confident that if we sent her to anything, she would win too. She's just done an amazing job as well. Ever since I got here,
I was here.
I don't have it with me.
I need a transcript of John's speech.
I love the testimonial that you've made some of your teachers, you've made it the best year of teaching ever. I mean, I can't get much better of a testimonial
I've
than
been
that.
known to try to have a little fun.
and she pushes us to do our best too. She's had really good questions for me that I've had to figure out how to answer. And they're good. That's the right kind of thing. She's always trying to push the institution to be as good as it can for the students and the community. So, and I can't thank you enough either. It's just it's amazing having both of you in the system. It's great.
Thank you. Great. Ready to go home too? Any other questions or any other comments for either one? We'll move on. Rock on. Keep it up. Good work.
Have a great year.
So we are on to G3, and as we pass through the threshold,
Can I just interrupt? If you don't want to stay, you don't.
Yeah.
Like,
that is what I was about to say.
I got great meters.
Okay, I was just serving the football team pasta and I have all right, where do you want me to go?
Photoshop.
Right here.
In the flag, probably.
I don't know what it's for. I like to be there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna drive back now, so.
Yeah. Would you guys do?
I'll take care of this.
Matt, Emily, James,
Yeah, we got all those kids in there.
Sure.
props.
You guys are all a little more prepared than I am.
You look good. You got the
I still got my stand.
We should have you take it with your friend, your kids.
All my kids. Come on in. Good scooch. Excellent.
That's great.
Okay, sorry.
Just also want to, before we revise, I meant to do it earlier. It's sidetracked, easy. I just also wanted to let everyone know our new town manager is here, sitting in the back. Mike. Don't feel like you have to say the entire name because it'll be a long one.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
But you're welcome.
All right, so we have arrived at G3. G3, there's two monthly reports for tonight. One is G3, which is the monthly report for August. It's the first one of this fiscal year. It is the second month of the 1920 year, and then what follows will be a closeout of the budget from last year for June. It's kind of where the final numbers landed. So G3, to talk about this year's first. As you might recall, we do these budget reports monthly. They come with a financial letter from our business manager and then the spreadsheet, which is an object spreadsheet for the record. We do have Mr. McLaughlin here tonight. He's sitting straight in front of me, and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer anything you have as well. So again, this report is fairly early in the year. Many items such as health insurance, FICA, Medicaid, Social Security, retirements, legal and audit services, utilities, tuition, transportation, grocery services, etc., have not all yet been encumbered or spent. So you'll notice that the budget balance of $6.3 million will ultimately be converted into encumbrances and expenditures over the next couple of months. The attached August 2019 report shows an available balance of that 6.386,032, or 15.97% of the DOE's current budget. The USIF agreement, or UISF agreement, will require that the budget transfers its energy funds to the town, and so that has not happened yet. I don't think in this budget, right, Mr. McLaughlin?
Correct.
Not happened yet. So that's going to be in there. This budget, as you know, was built about 20 months ago, and as we go along, that's what we're going to be starting again in a few months, is built in next year's budget. And the first budget workshop is October and November, so we'll be getting into the details in a month or two for next year's budget. It's hard to believe, but we'll be doing that again. So the fiscal year 20 budget was approved for $39,975,605, and it's 0.84% above the previous year. And so this would be our first report of the year for where the numbers have fallen at this moment in time. Anybody have any questions? And some of them I might have to write down, Mr. McLaughlin.
Well, Christina couldn't be with us tonight. She's back to work. First week, she's away traveling, but she did have a question. I'm not sure. She said you would know what she means, but anyway, she said, she wants to have, what specifically is the $1 million encumbered for? She said that you would know what she needs. I don't know where she sees it.
That's specifically the...
She didn't.
That's the next, we're not there yet. That's the
next
page.
one. The next one.
900, well, it's 939.
You're talking about
It's the end of year one.
So you're talking about the end of the year, right?
Okay, we're not there yet. Sorry. Well,
No, that's all right.
that's her future question.
I just had one quick question. When does the transfer happen for
This
energy?
in the next
budget?
month, I would say in the next month.
It'll happen in September.
Okay. And that's the utility, goes to the town. to the utility fund, right?
Yes.
That's right. And it's part of the Honeywell agreement, our energy agreement. It has been a beneficial agreement for the schools and the community. So yes, those funds get transferred right about this time of year.
That's usually it's typically a big number, like
1 point, I think in this case, 4 all the way, yeah, about 1.
million.
Questions, comments?
Sure, no problem.
Has all the health insurance been spent, so is that balance of $214,000 going to carry to the end of the year? Because it's kind of like the USIP fund where we pay it all to the town? Or will there be more expenditures? And then my second question is just about stipends. There's a big negative balance.
Well, that's, the stipends one is because we haven't collected the pay to play yet. Pay to play is collected as the year goes along, so that goes negative until we get it from the staff. And insurance, Mark, do you want to?
Insurance is just built on the employees we have right now and what's in the system. So if there's any additional hires, it'll fluctuate and change that available balance as we continue on in the year.
So most of it should be available at the end of the year?
The budget balance will, the goal is to reduce that down to 0 or close to 0 as we can. And that'll move, any of the available monies move over into the encumbered column. The encumbered column represents the future obligations we have to pay for the health insurance. We just set it aside so it doesn't look like it's available monies. It's already earmarked for the insurance.
So if there aren't any more, I can move on to the June closing report. Shall I move on?
Can't tell, my eyes are going back. Is that the June?
June expenditure report.
It's on.
That's August.
Keep going the other way. Down.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
One more.
One more.
And then
There you go. Thank you.
So, so a lot of information was covered in the last couple of months in terms of some of the end-of-year expenditures. This financial attachment in an object format, again, is the budget as of June of 2019. So it's the fiscal year 19 that you're kind of closing out here. You can see that at some point in the process, I was projecting around 70,000 would be left, and it turned out to be about 85,000, or 0.21% of the budget. The information that was provided over the last few months kind of gave an indication of where some of the end-of-year expenditures were. And as you know, for the budget for next year, 0.84%, a lot of lines were brought to trend. So this just gives you a sense of where in each of these areas it ended. You know, we had some positives and some negatives, and obviously tuition in some of those areas was a positive. We were able to recover some funds. So it's kind of balancing out the way that we expected it to, and we've been talking about. It's a little higher than the 70, but it's right about where we thought. And at this point with that 85, we could request for it to go into the Educational Reserve Fund or receive, you know, and that would be pretty typical if you go back a few years where we were. There was a year where we had 75,000, and we requested it go into the Educational Reserve Fund. The Birch Grove project is starting to yield some expenses that, you know, are outside of the realm of what part of, you know, that was covered and reimbursed for. So, you know, maybe we'd be able to use some of that capital-wise in the future. And I know there were some options there. So maybe the ERF, because it has a capital portion of it, might have some possibilities. So in any case, right now that's where we're at, pretty much where we expect it to be, a little bit of a fluctuation. And it's 0.21.
Just want to know, we we postponed our finance and facilities meeting. We were going to go through this in, I think, is that next month? Or we're not September 23rd.
Yeah.
So
We're going to push it back to September 23rd. But in that meeting, that's also open. You can get into that.
right, actually, I think the original purpose of that was to review this in detail, right?
Well, it was that, and it was the
Oh yeah, and the grounds. Yeah.
grounds agreement.
Yep.
And that those two items would take up most of that meeting. Fully anticipate to have that, and you can get really into the weeds if you want at that point.
Might be a little hard to answer, but this report was printed on August 14th, almost a month ago. Is there an update on what the encumbrances are now, that they've been spent down to this point?
That's the number that, the sheet you see here is what was used when we filed the EFS report.
Right.
So that 85 that's there is still the same number as of the 14th as it is right now.
I remember the EFS report, we wanted to stay consistent with that.
But you've been cutting checks against these encumbrances since August 14th. And so my question is, what's the encumbrance balance now? And I wouldn't expect you to know off the top of your head, but
Against those from June, I would have to go back and run a couple of reports to see that slice of the pie that you're asking me about.
and it's a leading question. The point is, most of it's spent by now.
Yeah.
You're talking about the $939,000?
Right.
Okay.
Right, that, I'm sorry, thank you. That as the month goes on, that gets drained down. And we fully expect that to be.
I mean, it's encumbered on June 30th. By now, it's pretty much spent. It's timing, things that were purchase ordered that now have been paid for.
Is that also answering Christina's question?
I think that's what she's asking. And that is the answer to that.
And she's on the Finance and Facilities Committee, so she'll get her opportunity to drill into it in
down
detail.
as far as the need she wants, of course, we talked about all that. A couple of hours or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I noticed this before, but I see that part of our budget goes toward a state trooper.
Yes. It's a SRO.
That's the SRO at the high school?
This year, we are going to be using those funds. Typically, what we try to do is have 2 SROs at 24 hours each. This year, we're going to bring on a security officer for Bush Road.
Okay.
Because that was one of the desired pieces.
Yeah.
Again, that's actually another example. The desire was to have this person for all of the hours of the day. So we budgeted for 24 of the hours of the day, with SROs for 24 hours by agreement with the town. And this will be more than that. So that's again another example of this was something we needed to do for the Birch Grove modular project that we're not necessarily going to have. So we're going to have to reallocate some funds.
It's a different line item than like a capital expense for Birch Grove. So is there a way that we're keeping track of?
We are, and we'll be bringing that up and talking about it. The thing about it, in early conversations, that was part of what was going to be project. So I'm hopeful, but not naive. So we'll go through the process and see where we are. These things do tend to have, all kinds of fluctuating situations with respect to what's needed. Things that weren't thought of come online. So people are doing the best they can with it. But that would be an example of something that was deeply desired that needed to happen. So we're able to cover most of it with that second SRO position because we hadn't filled that yet. And instead, I went with that security officer. And we have the SRO police officer, Brian Sacco, and we have our security officer who will be starting the 23rd. Who's a former Hartford police officer and comes with great credentials, great guy.
I met the new SRO, he was amazing.
He is amazing.
He was telling me all about his first week at Birch Grove, and he
is. Brian Sacco is a great SRO, and he is going to be wonderful for this district, and he's a resident as well with kids.
I did hear some kudos.
work at Bridgegrove for school days.
Everyone appreciated his presence. Everyone appreciated it.
And I apologize, I was gonna run that little video of the first
The Bridgegrove first test.
So I don't know if you want me to do that.
You certainly can.
Absolutely.
Or
Help us.
At some point.
do it at the next meeting.
The next one.
We will have more of those videos. We're producing more and more, so there'll be plenty of them for you
Yes.
to do.
We can do it with them. Okay.
So,
Thank you for the reporting and all the work that you guys do to make sure that we all know what's happening with our.
thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
This encumbrance is somewhat normal at this point of the year when that was printed.
And the 939,000 year-end encumbrance, is that normal as well? Roughly around
Mark,
there?
did you say?
It's in the range. It's in the range. It would have been nice if we could have had it in the $700,000 range, but 900,000 depending on how the staff did spending throughout the year. It's reasonable.
Well, it's when things start coming to you, right?
I didn't hear you.
As they come, that's going down. So
Yes, as the invoices come in, we pay them against the encumbrances, and that number continues to drop.
Yep.
All right, so last year we had a printout on August 23rd, 2018, the encumbrance was 642,000. So it seems typical.
Yeah.
So the FFC meeting will go more granular. If there's anything else you think of between now and then, just throw it my way, we'll put it on there.
And then the granular information is going to be available online in the next months.
Yeah, the other thing is, in my superintendent's monthly report, we put these in our own minutes, but I'm going to start putting these in a monthly report I put out to the community, separate from this as well. So
Thank you.
we'll have this info and other info, FT, things like that. So if we're good, we're good.
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to move on to item G5. This is an exciting item. When I put it out there, I've gotten a lot of feedback, maybe not as much as I needed. So it's now a board agenda item because I just needed to make sure that we all saw it and that you got an opportunity. The U.S. Constitution requires that each decade that we take a count of America's population. The census determines how many representatives we get in Congress, and it is used to plan statistics, residence needs, new roads, all kinds of information like that. State and important, and they need a volunteer. So this is on the agenda for your consideration.
Asking volunteers to volunteer
And
more.
we're asking
Step
volunteers.
back and say no.
Wow, good for you. That's a first.
This is where I can use my power. Point somebody, right?
Okay.
Well, do we have
You could
to?
appoint yourself.
You know, I was gonna say, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, like,
I nominate Fisher.
No.
There does seem to be some compensation in here for some people.
There is, yeah.
I am gonna nominate Liz's daughter because she missed tonight's meeting. And I was gonna say, do we?
She can't drive yet, so.
So I think they would like to know as soon as possible. I mean, this was put out there so you can chew on it, you know, and go home tonight, talk about it with your significant other and decide. They come back to me this week and let me know.
Is that there's an election in November,
Yeah, I was gonna say, does it? do we-
Right, does
do
it
we-
have to be, it has to be someone who's current board member?
Well, I think you could probably be someone the board appointed to do it for you, you know. And you have committees, subcommittees. And
I'll do it if I get paid that money.
I don't think you get paid.
You sure?
Yes, you do.
Said it's
Yeah.
for the town.
well, you got, there's a, for the Tolland County, the pay is $21 per hour, but I think as a volunteer, as a, you know,
I think being on the committee, you don't
representative
get
or
paid.
board member, you probably.
But I think that the people who go door to door,
Right.
they're the ones who get paid.
I don't think
So
you
this
can
is
get
just
the
the committee
$20
position? Yeah, to be on the committee.
Fairly, I'm sure you're not. We, you know, we do need, we do probably need a school employee too. So I'll be looking for that, to be a partner with whomever you So again, you can consider this for tonight. I just wanted to get it out there officially. And, I heard Bob Gordon wants to do it. All in favor?
So how does this, I'm sorry, person meet with this?
The committee?
Well, I'd imagine there'd be a ramp-up period. I have asked these questions, and I'm not sure if people are quite sure yet. I think you'd have to assume there would be once a week or every 2 weeks or something while they pull
And
things
does the
together.
committee select the volunteers that will be, not volunteers, the people who will be going out and doing it? Are they part of that process or not?
So the amount of the information I have is what I put in this little board.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. So what I can do is, if you compose a bunch of
I was
questions that you'd
curious.
like me to ask, I can put out those and try to get an answer.
I think it has to be from the board that someone we appoint based on the minutes from the town council meeting. I don't know if John,
So
you
if
have
somebody
more
were to
information
use
for
our
us.
system,
You don't.
11 people are going to be
Plus the town planner makes a call.
So I don't know what happens if the person loses their seat.
And that person that
I think
wins fills it.
you would re-up someone else as a
They
representative.
have to replace that person.
So timing is just what it is, I guess, that did come up and I had asked, but there was a desire to have me pursue this further in an immediate time frame, so that's why I wanted to put it out there officially.
I don't know when they need it. You need availability
It's hard to make a commitment when you don't know what details are.
Too much more on this tonight.
Yeah.
So if you compose your question, if you're thinking about it and you'd like to know what the answers are to a few of your questions,
When do they happen? You know,
then
what is
just
the
send me
commitment?
what
What's the
you want,
commitment
what you want to know.
What's the commitment look like?
Because we have other committee meetings that, we have to run and stuff.
Committee, pasta.
Okay, you're done, you're good.
Unfortunately, we have asked some questions, we just, I'm not sure everybody knows exactly yet. That's why more information, just let you know.
So maybe we can all think about it at the next meeting. Hopefully somebody steps up.
So one other thing I did want to mention, the gentleman that we are bringing in, I neglected to mention that his official start is 23rd. His name is John Tolland. Is the security officer. I apologize. I'm looking around because I realized I forgot to say his name. For Birchgrove. So that's John Cronin.
So he will be there
On the
during bus
23rd.
time and all that?
He is, yep, he's going to be there. He will be. He is awesome at traffic. Not saying we have a need for a traffic Z, but he's just really good at it. Good match.
I was talking to some friends today, who said that they were at school at 2:45. For pickup at 3:15.
We do have some challenges, yeah. But don't worry, John will save us. He's going to help us. He's the chosen one.
Okay.
Okay, so on to G6, construction authorizations and forms for approval. I'm going to pass these out. Notice that I did post something. It's a very large document, so it would not have been something that we could print for everybody here at this time. It's probably St. James Bible size. These are the final authorization, review of final plans. This has been given to me, and I know Michelle might be able to add a few or 2 cents to it. But this book was provided to me yesterday, and the information needs to be authorized by the Board of Education, and it needs to be signed by the board chair and by myself. So we're bringing this in front of the Board of Education. It is a SCG 042 form, request for review of the final plans. And we cannot actually proceed further until this request for review of final plans is processed.
This is specifically for the demo and abatement for Birch Road, for the art building.
So-
And we do have, I brought my schedule. We'll be presented with these, to the 2 more times, once in October and again in January. And these are very time sensitive, so it's something that when it's presented to us, we need to act on it.
So our typical process of the second reading will not work in this situation, unfortunately, because, and as valuable as that is, and I'm not suggesting it's not, but this particular situation is a unique and different one that we need to kind of move forward on.
And to even get this in the form tonight to be signed was quite an accomplishment, which I'll have to thank Katie Murray, our chair of the committee, for really making it happen.
We also have to move this to action and make a motion.
Motion to move the request for review of final plans of phase 1 of 5 document to be approved by the Board of Ed to action. Item J1.
Second.
And I'll have some wording for you when we get to that stuff.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions, motion carries.
So let's take a quick moment to sign. No, we'll just in front of you.
We haven't approved it yet.
I know, I'm just getting ready. These are going to be for you.
All of these?
No, not just these. Those are just copies for you to look at. I don't want to forget before we leave.
Don't sign it yet. Don't sign it yet.
So you don't have to sign it yet, but just don't. Make sure that we want to make sure we don't leave it up.
It needs to happen, or you're gonna have to go in and sign them.
So just to save the trouble. Okay. So the next item on tonight's agenda is G7. Asked to put this on the agenda. It is retail, smoke, vape, and dispensary establishments. It was offered up on the agenda for the purpose of the Board of Education discussing it.
So I believe there's a public hearing on this on September 23rd. It's a very hot issue.
So the public hearing is for the dispensary. I wanted to make sure that the public understands what's happening from a planning and zoning point of view. The dispensary public hearing is the 23rd because it's a new use. The vape smoke shop is considered a retail establishment in that zone, so it does not require a public hearing for that. So if anybody is wondering why that's not talked about or in the limelight as much as the dispensary, that is why.
And so just to clarify, when a new use comes about, it's not considering a specific business, it's about that use. And once that's decided, then anything that meets that criteria can come in and set up shop in Tolland as long as they meet that criteria.
And it's for a particular zone. Yes. The vape smoke shop issue, I think for us as a Board of Education, we all know what's going on out in the world right now. I'm sure you're quite aware. It's a big concern for students. For me personally, it's a concern that we're sending that message to kids.
I'm wondering if this board, we've been very vocal, even at the state level. This board went to the CADE conference. We were successful at leading an effort to have, to be opposed to the legalization of recreational marijuana. This is a little different, it's medical marijuana. And in my opinion, as long as it had zero effect on our school population, on children, then I don't think it's a Board of Ed issue. However, I do believe it does have an effect on school children. I think even though it is medical marijuana, not recreational marijuana, I think having that in town would impact our children. Just roughly speaking, based on our race survey, 1 out of 5 or more high school seniors are ready
use marijuana habitually. I think the question was like on a weekly basis. And then some of the research we've seen says that 1 out of 5 of those will develop some significant issues over the course of their lifetime related to that use. So I'm wondering, just want to throw it out there for our discussion, is it worth us putting something out there as a board? I would go as far as saying this is our opportunity before any zoning laws are changed. This is our opportunity to be consistent, to think about this through the lens of children, and ask the Planning and Zoning Committee to not make that change, to not allow dispensaries in town. And we wouldn't be the first town to have done that. There are other towns who have made those kinds of statements. And we've used one of them as an example. I think it was New Canaan. New Canaan said, look, we went through a POCD exercise which really surfaced the values of the town, and we find a dispensary not consistent with those values, and therefore we are not going to have dispensaries in our town. And I would throw it out there to this board to say, do we want to suggest to the zoning committee, the Planning and Zoning Committee, to do similar here in town?
I was going to suggest a kind of a collective message from us, whether it be a suggestion of a moratorium on this issue until they really gather from all stakeholders in town. Board of Education discussion, public safety discussion, human services discussion, prevention professionals discussion. All of those people as part of our community, I think should be part of the discussion, and I don't think that has happened. So that's just my suggestion.
Did we do a letter before to them? I can't remember. I feel like we did send them something.
We did send them something.
This has gone on for quite a while.
Yeah, it was last year, so that they did the survey and all that, but.
I like the idea of, making sure they're looking at it through the lens of those stakeholders, public safety, Board of Education. Otherwise, they're at risk of making a decision just based on a handful of people who show up and really not diving deep into what the unintended consequences might be.
I'm sorry, I was writing some notes. I'm sorry, Fisher.
I understand, especially I don't turn 18 until April, so there's really not much I can do in terms of really anything. However, I just want to say on the public record, especially the smoke and vape shop, because that's what I consider the worst problem and the most widespread problem, especially in the high school. But unfortunately, not just in the high school. I just want to say on public record, like, there's these two sides of education. We always view education as content-based and application. The kids know the content-based part of smoking and vaping. They have seen the numbers. They have seen the, what is it now, 6 deaths within the past, whatever, from vaping. They've seen, I don't even know the statistic for smoking anymore. It rises every year. Kids have seen that. They have seen these numbers over and over and over again. And there's obviously not much we can do about that smoke and vape shop since it falls under the... I just would like to say on public record, there are things that are content-based that kids know. It's the application of those, and I just don't want kids hearing numbers that don't mean anything to them, because yeah, you can say this many people die per year because of these, but it's that application and that our town is going to have something where people can do that. And it's sort of like a do what I say, not what I do sort of thing. And I understand, again, we can't do anything about that. But with an epidemic like that bad, especially for kids my age, it's sad, and I think if there's anything we can do whatsoever, whether it be simply a statement, whether it be information that is made available, anything, because when you have school districts having to install new detectors in their bathroom, or having kids having to sign into bathrooms, not sign out of class to go to the bathroom, but sign into bathrooms, that doesn't happen at our district. That hasn't happened at our district yet. I hope it doesn't get that bad. But in Connecticut, I know. I think in New Britain, they do that. I know that. It's sad.
It may sound like we're expanding the scope of this discussion. Someone might say, well, look, you're talking about medical marijuana dispensaries, you're not talking about vaping, you're not talking about recreational, but I would disagree with that. I think they're very much intertwined. Vaping relates to marijuana, it relates to medical marijuana. Recreational marijuana and medical marijuana are very much intertwined in terms of, if it gets legalized, the dispensaries are the first ones to become retail shops. And it's not necessarily, it's a very big commercialization issue. There's an awful lot of money and large amounts of capital being put into the marijuana industry right now. And I think it's very easy for children to get the wrong message just because there's so much being put out there and accessible to them online. When you go into these vape shops and you look at the products, it doesn't look medical to me. I'm sorry, dispensary shops, not vape shops, dispensary shops. It doesn't look medical to me. And I think to Fisher's point, if there's anything we can do, it'd be important to send a clear message. I think the clear message is no matter what is done, please look at the lens of not harming children. So I support Karen's suggestion if we ask the Planning and Zoning Commission not to do anything until they've really looked at it through that lens and through the public safety lens. I can't remember if you listed anything else. And human services.
Prevention professionals.
The item is about retail smoke vape in dispensary. So just from the perspective of schools with respect to smoke vape, we're having massive problems with this. It is a very difficult thing for schools right now. There's whole cottage industries around selling you detectors for vapes and all the other stuff. So if you want to blow a bunch of money on that won't solve your problem yet, and it'll just be a Band-Aid on the back end, which will send your admins running all over the place all the time for false reports. So there's all kinds of things that are bouncing off this that are negative for school districts and the community with respect to this smoking and the vaping issues. I think there's already these, they're already sold in town at different establishments, so that's unfortunate, and it's just part of the picture right now. But they're creating great misery and health problems, and problem is you can also use these that have concentrated THC dabs. You can't even detect it. It doesn't have a smell. They can add it to it. They can smoke it, or vape it. It's much more concentrated than marijuana of previous decades. So,
and that's a thing. There's a potential for overdose, and like folks may not think overdose happens with marijuana, but when it's concentrated like that, it absolutely does.
And if you get trained on it, you can see
I've seen it happen to a child.
So it's a very bad situation from the standpoint of these devices that make it very hard to detect and make it very easy to do. It's a real struggle for school systems right now. So, I guess the point is that it cannot be prevented, but I understand it's sold elsewhere. But this is just making a statement of a massive problem. And the kids right now, at that stage of development, their prefrontal cortex takes a while to catch up with their limbic system, so they're taking all kinds of risks. They take risks They do not understand the way that an adult does the impact of some of the decisions they're making. And at that age, marijuana has a very significant negative impact on the brain and their development. So, with respect to the smoke and vape part of this G7 item, it's just, it would be wrong of me to stay quiet and not say something about that. It's a very bad situation, and we're trying to do our best with it. Any help that anyone can provide would be greatly appreciated, and we'll keep working to that end. We're inviting a lot of programs in this year. We're doing a lot of counseling, but the kids, they get hooked on these things, and it's very difficult to get them off. And they make those mistakes because they're at this age, and these are all over the place right now. So
I think it's important to point out too that what you're saying, Dr. Willett, about the prefrontal cortex and all that, their perception of it being safe, whether it's vaping or marijuana, highly increases when you have things like this in your community. They see it, they see the advertising,
it becomes normal.
It normalizes it even more for them. So
that's what I'm saying about the do what I say, not what I do.
Mm-hmm.
It puts with one hand say, oh, don't vape, it's bad for you, and then have a vape shop in your town. It's everyone can see that. And going back to the brain development, one thing that I'm really into psychology. It's just something I enjoy reading about. I know that may make me a bit strange, but one part I find interesting
not strange for sure. I have one at home for you, buddy.
Teenagers know they're not invincible, but they feel invincible. And that's a really clear distinction to make, because it's commonly said teenagers think they are invincible. They know they're not, but that slight feeling they get as soon as they take that risk and then they take that leap of faith, that destroys that line. Those become one and the same. So
I do like Marin's idea to something in even space.
Sure.
Or
I think we should all affirm it, and so it comes from us. She said, just what she said was pretty close to that, I think, enough for us to affirm it. Or do we want to vote on it?
I can totally support that. I mean, I think it's something we need to get to them before the public hearing, so we have it.
Yeah.
And so that's for dispensaries, right? That's what's on the agenda.
Yes, that's
for the public hearing. Is there anything that can be done for the vape shop?
I mean,
I think that it's, it'll be like closing the bar and go back to the horse.
the message I got was that their hands were tied. Yeah.
Could something be done for future vape shops?
That, I don't know. I mean, I would think they can amend some regulations for the
guardians, I don't think that there's I think you can't, there's retail establishment. There's kind of struggling with the situation. It's impossible for them because it's kind of like, how do you say no? There's not a retail establishment anymore. But I guess what I would do is I'd reach out to parents and say, do everything you can to keep this out of your community. It's a disaster. It's a complete disaster. Parents, guardians, we should all be getting up and saying that this is these devices, this is a disaster for our children. It's an epidemic, it's a problem. It's allowing for the use of THC without detection. It's a massive problem. And we need to get up and say that we don't want these things in our homes, we don't want them in our kids' pockets, we don't want them in. And that's the important thing. From the standpoint of us standing up and making a big deal over it, we've got to make sure everyone knows we don't want these things around. They're being used in a way that's dangerous for the kids, and even we're not fools. I'm not into strawberry anything. I'm not going to go grab and suck on something strawberry. It's ridiculous that the fruity things are being sold like it's somebody my age looking for fruity vaping steam. So that's a ludicrous, ridiculous.
Who do you think they're marketing to?
So the bottom line is, this needs to be, we need to stand up as a group of people and say, we do not, we want these devices out of here. And that's something we need to do with the state legislature and all around the country, so.
I just want to thank Mr. Rosen for sitting through this meeting and being here. This is an important conversation for you to, and if you want to partake, that's great. If you have any well, sorry. But thank you for being here for this.
Thank you.
This
I'm taking notes on everything, so thank you for having me here.
I have one last comment, just as a parent. It's hard enough to parent these days without having the cards stacked against us. That's all I have to say. Like, it's hard enough.
I want to be clear. I mean, this is a controversial issue. I think what you hear around this table isn't controversial, but the Board of Ed isn't making judgment about what adults do. It's not making judgment about being business friendly in town. We're making a judgment about what impacts our children, and just asking that be part of the priority in decision making.
And I want to add that role for students. So I guess I'm charged with closing.
You wanted to say what you said earlier, because it's pretty darn close, and then Lisa writes it down, and then you have it.
I think also, sorry for butting in, but
Go ahead,
adding something exactly what Mr. Anderson said, that we are not saying this for, we are not making decisions for adults, we are not making decisions for the community as a whole, but we're making it for the kids in the school system. What's proven to be the best thing to keep them healthy and safe.
I'll get back to you soon.
I was gonna take it down, but.
Actually, she probably already has it the first time you said it.
I'll get it from the minutes. I can get it from the minutes if you want.
If Lisa reads it back, we can always make sure that's what we want to say. We can affirm it, and it's really official.
Suggest a collective message from the board, whether possibly a suggestion of a moratorium until they gather information from all of the stakeholders in town, including the Board of Ed, Public Safety, Human Services, private professionals, and as part of our community should be part of the discussion, and we don't think that has happened.
So moved.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, Michelle?
Do you want to just do a straw vote? So are folks good with that?
And what you said, Sam, I was trying to add that.
I think it needs to say for the children, not for the adults in general.
Making a judgment about the children.
Because there's other things that are legal in town that are not for the kids that, there's like 5 liquor stores in town. And that's the same thing, a little bit.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing, but it's just more of the same thing. Not everybody who drinks will become an alcoholic, but a certain number will. Not everybody who uses marijuana will have lifelong issues, but a certain number will.
And the other issue with the vaping devices is they're available at all kinds of different stores. Go to the gas station.
That's why, parents and guardians really need to, you care a lot about it, maybe take those big pictures of some of these people that are suffering and walk around in front of the store with it.
Oh, on Facebook, we have all kinds of pictures.
Just one last note, if you don't mind. Just board goal number, hang on, I'll find it. It's the first one, the second column on our agenda, engaging the strategic prevention framework. That is a nail on the head of what we're talking about.
Right.
The point of that was prevention as a community effort. And, like Jeff and Dr. Willett said, this stuff is pretty accessible, so it really does become a community effort to send the right message.
Good to move on?
Yeah, thank you.
So we're just converting your suggestion into a statement.
Right, and I have to add what Sam said.
Okay, we're taking out the word gestures that everybody was
Yeah.
stating.
Yes.
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 I'll fix it, so. Thank you.
Karen?
Thank you.
We're ready for the liaison reports.
So, as was discussed earlier, Finance and Facilities is currently planning to meet September 23rd, go over grounds agreement and end of year reconciliation.
Michelle and Karen.
Yes. Go ahead. Policy is due in October. Been a really struggle getting policy for all sorts of different various reasons. So we're going to meet in October. Negotiations, we are continuing negotiations. And building committee. I don't know when we're going to start putting stuff online, but the building committee did approve a design for Birch Grove. And I thought I'd bring what I have to share with
See you here first.
you all here, since, this is our school, and we're the Board of Ed. So I'm gonna ask, I'll pass this around, but it's not gonna look like what it looks like now. It's gonna be very different. So that's the most exciting thing we found. And then obviously what we have to discuss tonight.
That was approved, you said?
That is the building design concept that we have approved.
The more detailed schematics are to come.
Yes.
But that's like the design concept, and it has, the grounds are also laid out there.
Looks nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. It's gonna be a single story.
I do like that pre-K and FRC will be together. It makes so much sense.
And they're ground. Yeah. So we have a meeting next week. Ask.
Yeah, to start enough room for all those buses.
Yeah, it's just, that has to be scanned, and it's not picture.
I don't know, like they should have slides for us to be able to focus on that page. I just feel like, we're making these decisions. I mean, that was a pretty big decision to decide what it's gonna be. And we haven't really told anybody.
Yeah, that's true. I'll check on that.
So big meetings. And you passed over, I was gonna say the same thing. I don't see my notes. It was approved by the meeting. And the meeting is public.
Once it gets to Fisher, you can, if people in the audience already wanna see, take a look at it.
This is the Board of Ed meeting that you should have come to.
Can we take a picture of it? Sneak?
Yeah.
I can take a picture.
Oh, take a picture.
Can I take a picture of it? Is that legal?
Well, what do you think? They can have a
there, that's all, that's fine.
So,
A mental picture.
it's probably, it's just, they release their own documents.
Well, it would be proposed, but true. I'm not gonna go put it on Facebook.
Yeah, don't put it, if you don't put it.
No, I
So
would.
they do their own official document.
Then I don't know anything about what you're doing.
And then this is the preschool.
If I see it, I know I did it.
Next Thursday. Next Thursday.
Yes, right.
I'm gonna try to come down to that next Tuesday.
Is that what I'm talking about?
In this room?
Oh. So we can talk about it really quick. Karen and I and Brenda and Tammy and two other members of the committee. Nancy Dunn attended the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, their kickoff. They have $100,000 they're distributing to 29 towns that they encompass. And so we went to this kickoff meeting, and what the kickoff meeting was to choose a selection committee, an advisory committee to help manage the funds and who, how to distribute them and what the need is. And 50,000 of the 100,000 is for immediate use, and then the other 50,000 is
Endowment.
an endowment. So, and it's just an initial. They were very clear that it was an initial investment. So, that was really exciting, and that's really great job that once we all figure out what the advisory committee is gonna look like, it'll be more robust for announcements to the community.
They talked about like what the process is gonna look like, and you know, they have a whole packet of information and sample press releases and things like that, so. And they're with you along the way too, like they have someone assigned to your town that will help you with the process, so. It's really interesting, exciting.
It's exciting stuff.
So a grandfathering process?
Yeah, so the advisory committee will be, once it's formed, will be the ones that will handle the process of accepting applications for grants. So there's
Elected representatives now participating.
to be integrated with all this stuff.
That means, Sam, when you're done, you can join the committee.
Our next step.
There are several people here.
What kind of census?
Part-time good?
Thank you for going. That's great.
It was good. It was there were other towns there, so it was exciting to see what everybody was talking about. Would you want me to do that committee?
Yeah, I was just finding, came out of talk about these negotiations, but is it coming close to the end, or where are you at?
I would say probably erring on the side of being safe versus.
We're not sure. We're negotiating.
You're still in the process. Okay.
Yes.
Let's just keep it safe.
All right.
Communications met this evening and before this meeting. And we also discussed the dispensary and the baby bookshop, just kind of along the same lines as what we discussed today. Have that on the agenda. Strategic prevention efforts. Tried to do a little update only because nothing's happening right now. And it's been a struggle to find the time to focus on it, but I am trying to get the group together again. And John Davio did reach out to me to touch base and say what's going on. So I'm hoping, but it's really hard with everybody on other committees and micro thing going on and craziness. So we'll try to work on those efforts. We talked about just the budget timeline. I don't know if you all saw that. That came out from the town manager's office. It's the typical timeline that we usually deal with. Talked about we'll start the superintendent budget workshops coming up. The first one is October 16th. There's November 20th, December 18th, and January 15th. Those are all online. Under his webpage, under budget, and that will be our process moving forward for establishing our budget and moving it to the town manager for February timeframe. So, what to do with it?
Maybe one thing to think about is that the board does turn over in the middle of that cycle, and it's always disruptive. And I don't know how you get ahead of it, but you know, I guess I think one way is by having candidates here. You know, and so thank you to the candidates who are showing up because they will help you hit the ground running. But it's always hard to come into the board.
Participate in workshops because the first one is the 16th, and that's kind of the precursor to everything that happens.
So I think it's a message to candidates. You know, go to those budget workshops because it's very difficult to all of a sudden be sitting on the board and trying to figure out what's going on with the budget.
And not just board candidates.
Yeah.
If you're another candidate, it's good to understand the board budget. We also talked just in general about municipal budgeting. I just feel sometimes the community doesn't understand the budget process when it comes to not just BOE, but the municipal part in general. It's a lot, so anything we can do, I guess, to help in that. I don't know what that is, but we have to do our own work, so. was just something that I thought we could talk about. And then just a little general other business that we talked about. Dr. Willett is creating a superintendent's monthly report now, which is a little different than just his bulletin coming out. It's similar to the bulletin version, but will have more narrative type articles that he will provide, not just links, but actual written narrative. Some more broader education related topics, the updated monthly budget reports like he mentioned earlier, FTE information, and things like that. So that's kind of a new thing that's happening now for this school year. And then his superintendent brief, which will be his weekly communication, just kind of a one-page version of his bulletin with basic information and links to the school's digital backpacks. So just a little bit different format that's happening from what his bulletin used to. So take a look at that. Oh, and videos, yes, very exciting videos he's going to be making per our suggestion.
Just remember when you're seeing my face weekly or bi-weekly that it was the communications committee that did the video.
We just thought it would be nice because
it would be wonderful.
It's hard to engage people sometimes.
We'll do some things together.
Live videos like, 2 minutes or a minute or two, or, mastery-based learning or whatever.
So we do have a lot of videos as
right. These will be
important
just
for the district. These would just be 60 seconds as well.
60 seconds? 60 seconds with Willett.
need a stinger for
Maybe our audio visual bits can help you out.
Yes.
Suggestions?
That makes your students looking more involved.
I just have one applications. I have one quick thing to post about. Okay, I went to the Booster Club meeting and just a couple of things from that. There's pretty sure I already talked about open house. There's a fall fest that's happening November 2nd. That I think the athletic director is heading up. Maybe? I'm not sure I got that right, but anyway, all the clubs, sports teams, whoever wants to have a booth can have a booth, and families are invited. It's a lot of, you can have a game, and it would be inexpensive things for kids to play, or prizes and things like that, and maybe some food and shit. November 2nd from 5 to 8 p.m.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, kind of, they're doing something a little different with that. And then the Eagle Scramble Golf Tournament's coming up Sunday, September 29th. There's information in the school website, and there's an online registration form through the Booster Club, and the Tolland Project graduation folks are co-hosting this year. And the early bird special is in effect until I think September 15th. So any golfers out there, please come play.
I attended the town council meeting as a liaison yesterday. Celebrate Tolland is this Saturday 11 to 3. There are 3 public hearings. There's a resolution for supplemental appropriation from the equity distribution from CIRMA. The Board of Ed share was $24,309. That will go to Capital Improvement Fund for Birch Grove School van rental. They passed the resolution establishing an ordinance for a tax stabilization fund program. They also passed a resolution to allocate the appropriation of $300,000 from the general fund balance to the Capital Improvements Fund for the Board of Education Facilities, Birch Grove Primary School in the amount of $75,000. And the other 225 went to 1,000 went to the Municipal Tax Stabilization Fund. And then they also passed a resolution that was not a public hearing to basically in the fiscal year 1920 revenue budget, adjust the education cost sharing revenue account by the additional $568,966 that is coming back to the town from the budget that passed, not the budget that the governor proposed back in February, I think it was. So that's the main stuff that affected the Board of Ed meeting. And it was the first meeting for the new town manager. Still here.
True.
Welcome.
It's been a long week.
I'm sure you took copious notes at that one too.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really speak. I went last night to it, I didn't speak up the board because I think we've done that speaking public. But once again, openly, we were denied the meeting that the chairman asked. So once again, disappointed. I do want to add, I was going to say on the chairperson's report, I know it is election cycle right now, and I feel like there is a lot of political stuff going on. I don't know if it's just me, I think others feel that way, and I don't think, even though it's that time of year, we shouldn't be doing this with each other. I mean, again, I ran on bipartisanship, I ran on working together, and working not R's and D's, but as together. And I've done that here. I think we have, but I think it was a little rocky when the Republican Party took control of the board and council, but it's worked out. And it really saddens me that this is happening in our town. On Michelle, it really, it is. It's just, it's not right. And then I also wanted to, so Mr. Rosen, I hope you can, help the board and the council maybe mend that dysfunction that's going on right now.
I hope so.
I think you seem great.
Thank you.
I was glad they hired you, and good luck.
Thank you. I know it's a very, the times are changing right now, and I'm hoping to be that consistent hand to help everybody going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I hope there will be a bridge that comes together. I think there will be once November passes. But I also wanted to say, the person's report. I think I read today, it's been 5 deaths we've had in Tolland, is that right, since May? That's a lot, that's affected our community as well, for our students, and I just am saddened for all those families and our students as well, and just my heart and prayers are with those families. Just want to mention that as well. Beyond that, it's really so we're up to board action, and I think we just have one item on there.
Right, so Chair, for tonight, we moved it to board action. I would recommend, if I may, recommend a motion to execute and accept the review of final plans form SGCO 42 and to authorize the signature and processing of the document.
So moved.
Second.
Suggested motions, one of you would have to make.
Can I provide more information? Because I feel
Are you making that? You have a discussion or did you?
So,
Now we can discuss.
So there's two, the abatement, well, let me start with the budget. We have a budget for demo abatement, and the abatement has, the environmental came in better than expected. There's no asbestos in the building. We have to abate the lights, and we have to abate the gym floor, which we knew had mercury in it. It was going to have to be done anyways if the building wasn't coming down. So the cost of the abatement has come down because of what they had budgeted for us. They budgeted for more issues, so good news. Yeah, good news. And so, so that's what the abatement is, and
Savings everywhere.
This is I've been told that this is the easiest of the things that we will have to do, like those forms that we have to provide and approve going forward. This is the most straightforward.
Is it costed? Is there a price tag there?
There is, the budget, let me see if I got it. There's so many emails and my email is on top of each other, I'm having a hard time finding. So what we received for budget for the abatement was $214,000, and for the demolition of the building was $2,406,563. 2.6. But that's under what they had initially.
Is the demo less also, or is it just the abatement?
Just the abatement. Okay. And that's, Katie provided that to me, so I didn't have time to go through my notes to find the information, so thanks again, Katie.
Katie's really good. I'm impressed. She did really give a good synopsis.
She's on top.
Yeah, she's really good.
We're lucky she's on. Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole abatement and demolition of the building will be safe for the students who will be obviously on the same grounds. There's no explosions. I guess that some of the kids think that they're gonna like blow up the building.
Oh, because they hear demolition. Yeah. Yeah.
They're not.
That would be hard.
Cranes? Maybe cranes? I don't know.
I'm sure they're gonna enjoy all the heavy machinery.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, we're gonna send Peter Stava in there with a sledgehammer to save funds. We'll take it down by himself.
Can we get some video?
That's how we do things in town.
You're welcome, Pete.
How about some video to share with the kids?
Well, I wanted to do a time lapse.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So that we take a picture and go back up.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, but I think it's a great idea.
Well, okay, so parents who are dropping your kids off every day, take a picture every day.
Well, it's hard because
Just
it's a
a
really
thought.
tall fence with a blue screen in front of it, so it's hard to see.
So we need a drone.
Yeah, we do. Oh, you know what? Who has that?
Somebody did a drone.
There are the official drones and then there's unofficial
I
drones.
think we might be
Is it tomorrow?
Motto has an extra plan. Haley?
I was excited about the drone idea.
All right, so I think we're still in the action, so we're
Still talking about it.
Any discussion? Discussion? Are we ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Now you can sign.
Slide it.
There's two.
Television,
Board of Education chairperson. Bill, this is for the building.
Oh, sorry.
This is for the Board of Ed chairperson.
It's on my mind.
Thank you. You got me. I feel like the president.
I'm gonna here, take another bed. We have on each letter, it's a bed.
Yeah, for my middle initial usually do. We should have done the sign off too for 11.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, public participation. No? All right, points of information?
I'm gonna, I should have brought this up earlier, but I forgot. Birch Grove opened last week and it was amazing. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, see?
Emotional.
Stop it. No, but it was really like the energy, the kids were all excited, the staff was amazing, the building looks terrific. I mean, there's still a lot of boxes, but it's great. The kids don't have any idea that
you know.
It's just their
They're
school.
having music in the gym, and that's okay, but there's, you know, there's something going on with the music room, and art is in their room sometimes, and
The acoustics aren't that bad.
yeah, so it's really, like, the staff is doing an amazing job of being, you know, just open to whatever happens, but still, like, conducting a, you know, educational environment. It's been great, and I was there making copies, so we're all good to go now.
Nice.
And we wanted to thank all the volunteers who helped move all the stuff into the portables.
Yeah, I got a thank you today from Mr. Swanson. Very sweet.
Modulars. Already into the modulars.
I corrected last night, and I didn't want to do it. So.
I have that written down, so that's.
It's okay.
And the teachers, the whole staff's doing amazing.
Amazing.
And kudos to the town staff for helping get all of that done, you know, and everybody on their side really helps out Pete on our side. It's just really a huge effort. And it's done as we move forward, not completely done, but moving on to the next stage.
We should also thank the custodians for cleaning up. I don't know how much of a mess it was, but I'm sure it was clean when the school started. So.
Yep, it's great. Isn't that first week? I would agree.
You are, so, we have a meeting with the video?
Yes. I just want, I'm really sure everybody about it. Like most people that are on Facebook, I just want to say, I don't know, Fisher, if you've seen it, I should pass it down to Fisher. It's like says, meet the person responsible for you, and it has mirrors for each one, so when you look at it,
Oh, that's
it's choices, grades, success, words, and actions. So basically, you're responsible for your thing. I don't know, pass it down to Fisher.
It's too tall though.
Is it
Too tall for a little kid. They
I
need
know,
to be
but-
shorter.
What is it? Where is it?
It's a bunch of mirrors.
No, it's not in one of the schools, it's just a post.
Oh, it's got like choices and kindness.
The idea?
The idea, I think it's
The idea is
a great
wonderful.
idea. Especially for high school, look at yourself, you're making these decisions.
What's a good idea? How do we bring up
I like
the
you.
idea?
I don't know, I'm bringing it up to Fisher.
I don't know the video. Do we want to do the video?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, you do?
Next tab over. It's QUEUED.
Put the mic on.
Life is well, I'll sing along.
pretty impressive. I think the whole Birchgrove community came together. 1 week ago today, we came in for the first time into this building, and it was just boxes and boxes and just boxes. But we came together, we got it done. The PTO helped out, everyone came together. It's not the building, it's the people that built the community, but having said that, this building is pretty impressive, I think. I'm very excited to be here.
That Mr. Swanson has.
Same teacher as before.
I can tell you something quick about one future agenda item. Is organizing and vision missioning for the district. So the first session will be October 16th, and need some Board of Ed representatives on that. I'd like you to be part of, obviously, the larger vision initiative. So the administrators are going to be working on it in the period of October through December, but I need some board representatives. And the first night would be, the first afternoon would be 3:30 to 5:30 on October 16th. So you don't have to come up with
It's also a
anything.
budget workshop night.
Yeah, it's going to go right into the budget workshop.
Do you just want us to let you know if
Yeah, any of
you're
you who are
available?
interested, no,
Okay.
and there's no limit on how many. I'm going to have a person from Ed Advance come out and do the visioning and missioning with us, because sometimes it's better for actually us to have an organization doing it.
The workshop?
It's going to be a kind of a setting up the workshop that'll initially happen in November. But it'll be disseminating information, talking about process. So whoever wants to be a part of that, that would be the night to start. 3:30 to 5:30. Just let me know ahead of time so I can get your name, put it on the list and all that. But that's October 16th.
I'm impressed. We're gonna be done by 9:30. Good. Motion to adjourn? Discussion? All in favor? I never get to do that. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.